32. Does it? Okay, the last one that I got from Not the Bargarunga says, "31. Don't matter. Yadatu sarva bhuteshu. Tharoshu agnim ivastitam. Pratichakshita mam loko. Jaya tari eva kasmalam. You will see me in all living entities, as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. Please repeat. You will see me in all living entities, as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will we be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Rama prayed that he might not forget his eternal relationship with the Lord during the course of his material activities. In answer to that prayer, the Lord said that he should not think of existing without a relationship with his omnipotency. The example is given of the fire in wood. The fire kindled in wood is always the same, although the wood may be of different types. Similarly, the bodies within the material creation may be specifically different according to shape and quality, but the spirit souls within them are not different from one another. The quality of fire, warmth, is the same everywhere, and the spiritual spark, or part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, is the same in every living being. Thus, the potency of the Lord is distributed all over his creation. This transcendental knowledge alone can save one from the contamination of material illusion. Since the Lord's potency is distributed everywhere, a pure soul or devotee of the Lord can see everything in relationship with the Lord, and therefore he has no affection for the outer coverings. That pure spiritual conception makes him immune to all contamination of material association. The pure devotee never forgets the touch of the Lord in all circumstances. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Sva Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavams Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitam Cha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamanda Mater Gati Matsar Vasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano. Dibyad Brindaranya, Kalpadrumada, Srimad Ratnagara, Signa Sanasto, Srimad Radha, Srila Govinda Devo, Kristalabi, Savyamano, Smarami. Sriman Rasa, Rasarambi, Vamsi Bhattatatasti Taha, Karshan Benu Svanar, Gopir, Gopinatha, Shri Estuna. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu, Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyas cha, Kripasindubhya eva cha, Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi, Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yadatu Sarva Bhuteshu, Darus Agnim Ivastitam, Pratichakshita Mamloko, Jayat Tari Eva Kasmalam. You will see me in all living entities, as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. So, Brahma's prayers for creative energy. This is Maitreya Muni speaking to Vidura. Earlier in the second canto, this very momentous and important spiritual knowledge was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. Interesting coincidence. This is the 9th chapter of the 3rd canto. That was the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto. Answers by citing the Lord's version. So momentous and important was that revelation, Shukadeva Goswami's understanding at the dawn of creation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's words to the first living entity, the first most responsible personality, given the task to create the material bodies of all the different species of life to facilitate their desire and ultimate rectification to be qualified to leave the material world altogether and enter into a spiritual body fit for sambandha relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that just as we're seeing here today, this most momentous instruction from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, series of instructions, the end of the, making up the latter part and end of this chapter. So 4 seed verses were spoken by the Lord that became known as the Chatur Shloki, the seed verses or most 4 important verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, we have in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, verses 8, 9, 10, and 11. I think these are essential Sanskrit verses that are recommended to be learned and taught. Aham Savasya Prabhavo. I'm a little rusty. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. those who are wise worship me with all their hearts. And 10:9, the beautiful verse describing the spiritual happiness of association with the sadhus, with the devotees. There's even a nice name that I've seen devotees receive over the years, Sadhu Sangananda. The ecstasy of association with the devotees. And there's the wonderful festival, which is one of the premier American festivals, been now moved from the East Coast to the far West, Sadhu Sangha. Machita Madgita Prana Bodhayantas Parasparam Katayanchas Tumam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered unto me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss in enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this is the standard or the platform, proper platform by which devotees associate. Exchanging properties, just like great scientists in their laboratories share the wonder and amazement of their inventions. Of course, those would be good scientists, not like the Duskritana, demoniac scientist who discovers how to make a nuclear bomb to kill people. Death is already there for everyone. So if somebody discovers a way to accelerate the death process, it's not a very laudable or praiseworthy event. Quite to the opposite, devotees discover, the subsequent devotees of Lord Chaitanya can discover many novel ways and means. This is the principle of true Yukta Vairagya that Narada Muni explains to Vyasadeva, in urging him and inspiring him and encouraging him to directly glorify the Lord in his pastimes by writing the cream of the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam, which he did in his mature realization. Actually, this real-life example of Srila Vyasadeva is a very much encouragement to each and every one of us on many different levels. Srila Prabhupada, in our Western upbringing, you know, if we make a mistake or do something wrong, then we're very much shamed. You know, our peers and contemporaries and the court of public opinion will make sure we feel ashamed and put us down and ridiculed and terrible, terrible. But in transcendental life, and Prabhupada spoke the aphorism, mistakes are the pillar of success. One time, one devotee was criticizing his godbrothers and godsisters to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is patiently hearing him. And then after a goodly amount of time was allowed for the devotee to rant on and on, Prabhupada stopped him and said, "What do you want? They're trying to become devotees." So in a sense that, what's the word, betrays the so-called the criticizer, that the criticizing person does not have real faith and understanding of the potency of devotional service. All glories to the Sankirtan mission and movement of Lord Chaitanya, which can cleanse the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and lifetimes together. What is that verse? I believe it's in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Even if you're the most sinful of all sinners, if you're situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will reach the shore by my grace. Something like that. Bhagavad Gita, Pandit. Even if you're the most sinner of all sinners, if you're situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, yeah. Sitaram, thank you. What verse and number? You know what chapter and verse? It's 930. That's Abhichetsu the Racharo budget. Anyway. Yeah, chapter 4. That's right. And actually, is there a Bhagavad Gita in here? Did I have a Bhagavad Gita? Four 24. Yes, we know what it is, and we're going to say it. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmayavatena, Gantavyam, Brahmakarma, Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to achieve the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. So this wonderful example that is given today by the Supreme Lord to Brahma, and Srila Prabhupada in his purport makes it all the more easier to understand. Just as fire is situated in wood, so fire, very pure and powerful element, has the ability to burn contaminants to ashes. And the source of fire, the sun, Krishna is compared to the sun, can sterilize even the most filthy place. And the sun, like a urinal, for example, is not affected. The sun's omnipotency, it purifies everything and all, and is never affected in the purifying process. So if we like do a maha clean, then we get all dusty and dirty and we gotta take a bath and wash our clothes, proportionate to how dirty the place was that we cleaned. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But at the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness. So this simple instruction, which was described in the previous verse, what is the qualification to be able to see all living entities equally? When you are absorbed in devotional service. Oh, Brahma, when you were absorbed in devotional service, in the course of your creative activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe, and you will see that you yourself, the universe, and all living entities are in me. All these manifestations of the Lord cannot be understood by anyone but the pure devotees. We're always engaged in devotional service to the Lord and are fully, so it's proportionate. This Sankirtan movement can enable us to partially, 50%, sometimes, mostly, fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. For those who are ambitious, there's false shruti, particularly hearing the glories of Prithu Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj. For one who wants fame and recognition, simply by reading this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, one will achieve this. Was it? The pastimes are so great that they counteract all bad luck. For example, But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he started with a material motivation, but in the end, the standard of the pure devotee is they only want pure, unalloyed devotional service, which means whatever the Lord wants, wherever the Lord wants the devotee to be, he's completely satisfied to be there, to do that, and be there. But ultimately, Krishna wants his pure devotees back home, back to Godhead, to directly take part in his Nitya Sevas with his eternal associates. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere. To be restless in association of wealth and women is not at all an astonishment, because one has been associated with these things from a very remote time, since time immemorial, and it takes time to recover from the foreign atmosphere. Prabhupada speaking in 1975 in Australia, question and answer. They decided to have the class in the evening because all the guests would come, and you could see that. It's very wonderful. They had very nice movie footage of Prabhupada in Australia in 1974 and 1975. We've been performing sinful activities in this material world lifetime after lifetime. So how many lifetimes, or how long does it take do we have to perform pious activities to counteract all those sinful activities? And Prabhupada's response, you were not reading Bhagavad Gita? In 1 minute. Tam sarvapabhebhyo mokshayami masacha. Krishna, for so long I've forgotten you. I am your eternal servant. Please forgive me. Please accept me. How long does it take to do that? Just 1 minute? Everything. And I will relieve you from all the reactions to your sinful activities instantly. Prabhupada says, the intelligent will take very serious note of this offer from the Supreme Lord. He has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness, or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The word Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Rama Jyoti. Is spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahma Jyoti, but when the Jyoti is covered by illusion, Maya, or material sense gratification, it is called material. The material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor, and the result are all combined together, Brahman, or the absolute truth. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter, dovetailed to the cause of the absolute truth, regains its spiritual quality. One place in the Bhagavatam, it's described the process of devotional service is like fire purifying gold, that the devotee in the end of his purification process is resembling molten gold. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Complexion, golden complexion. Golden Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman, or the Supreme. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna, or sacrifice for the Absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the smoke produces fire because it is burning the contaminants. The performer or leader of the performance and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the Absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is the method of Krishna consciousness. Brahma prayed that he might not forget his eternal relationship with the Lord during the course of his material activities. Similarly, we are our main activity to please Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the acharyas and the authorized devotees is to distribute Krishna consciousness to the fallen conditioned souls. Fallen means they have to be raised. So just like someone who is fallen, the rescuer has to take risk, has to put himself out. So many different rescuing. Someone is being attacked by a wild animal. How are you going to get the person free from that without yourself being attacked by the wild animal? Somebody's drowning, the lifeguard. We were hearing Indradyumna Swami at the Laguna Beach. He was driving and he was remembering his time as a lifeguard in Southern California when he was a young man before becoming a devotee. And I forget who he made this demonstration on, but it was kind of funny. He said, huh? Is that Vrindavan? Okay. That a lot of times you try to rescue somebody and they fight back and even like drag you down. And one of their lifeguard friends actually drowned that way. So there's a technique that you have to come from, how do you come from the back and like around them, and then you yank them out. So Prabhupada gave the example of Lord Jesus Christ. He came to uplift and save people, but the very people that he was trying to help had such a, some of them at least, terrible reaction to his preaching that they ultimately, and in the most heinous and cruel and violent of ways. So that's the disease of the conditioned soul. But the pure devotee, Prabhupada says, he continues to bestow the benediction of devotion upon all such offenders without hesitation. I'm reading verse 32. Where's the Gita? Is over here. I bestow it onto you. That's 436. Api Chenya, we had Sitaram Prabhu. He pinpointed and focused our attention. Api Ched Asi Pabebhya Sarvebhya Papakritama Sarvam Jnana Plavenaiva Urjinam Santarisyasi. Even if you consider it to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross the ocean of nescience. So when devotees would ask Srila Prabhupada, this way, that, and, kind of maybe fearful or doubtful, Prabhupada would give the example that if you stay in the boat is on the ocean, and the ocean is sometimes calm. As he said, Lord Krishna has taken charge of the ship. Captain Pandya had never seen such a calm Atlantic crossing. The captain's wife, please come back with us again so we could have another such peaceful crossing. Or there could be storm, there could be hurricane, there could be tidal wave, even tsunami. you're completely at the whim of the ocean. But if the boat is very strong and infallible, all you have to do is make sure to stay on the boat. Don't jump off the boat. The boat is not going to expel you or eject you or throw you off. And in fact, the boat is so strong that it could, like when the Titanic was sinking, it was 1,500 people on board, but there was only room in lifeboats for half or 40% or something like that. Women and children first, you know, and people were fighting to get on the boat, and or some people were noble and gave their seat up or whatever, you know. But Krishna's boat of transcendental knowledge, he built a house in which the whole world can live. The members of the Panchatattva, they broke open the storehouse of love of Godhead and distribute the contents more and more. But the more they gave, the more the stock increased. In the material world, 1 minus 1 is 0. But in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 is 2. Proper understanding of one's constitutional position. So this is a nice purport in relation to the instruction here today. This very simple instruction that fire is the same in no matter what type of wood or element or substance that is being burned. You know, it might have a, you know, different color to it, or there might be more smoke, this and that. But fire produces warmth, heat. That heat is the same always. So if something is making more smell, you know, burning some chemical, or you're burning leaves, you know, people like burn leaves when they rake the leaves in the fall. That's the condition of the modes of material nature. One who's more entrenched in the mode of ignorance, trying to bring out the fire of Krishna consciousness in them is going to be harder. It's even said, but of all of the modes of material nature, the mode of goodness is the proper platform for the living entities to rise up to the spiritual platform. It's described at length in the first canto. Is so nice, this understanding. So this is the Lord's instruction. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. It is so nice that it can at once lift one from the struggle for existence which goes on in the ocean of nescience. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience and sometimes as a blazing forest. So the potency of the pure devotee that he can extricate, he saves, and how does he do that? He's receiving benediction from the ocean of Krishna, the ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud passes over the ocean and then comes to the land, fully full with the water we see from the ocean, and the rain comes down and extinguishes the fire of material existence. No fire brigade, no man-made way can put out a huge forest fire. But when the cloud of Krishna's mercy, brought by his pure devotee, the spiritual master, comes and showers that rain of mercy. In the ocean, however expert a swimmer one may be, the struggle for existence is very severe. If someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, he is the greatest savior. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. This transcendental knowledge alone can save one from the contamination of material illusion. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time, the most sublime. Yada tu sarva bhuteshu darus agnim ivastitam pratichakshita mam loko Jaya Tari Eva Kasmalam. You will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. Hare Krishna. Kwantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai, Gora, Premanandi, Haribol.